as I've kind of become more comfortable with who I am as a person, I really just dove into, being creative and just speaking what's on my mind rather than, shying away from, what could possibly really help someone else. And, that's really what I've made kind of my brand rather than trying to be like, okay, I'm this person, I'm going to stick to this at all times. I more so just try and creatively express what I'm feeling. And sometimes I've noticed that has been very beneficial to people. So that's a little bit more about myself. And, I guess I'll say like my personal brand as an individual.
Right.
I love that. I just wanted to say that.
No, absolutely. I love that. I think for athletes, sometimes we don't think that we're multifaceted. And I think that's one thing that I've learned over my journey as I've come to a halt in my professional, playing career. Like, we can do anything, like student athletes are so multi-creative and multifaceted. You just have to really figure out what it is that you really love, and that you're passionate about. So essentially, what made you, like, after you stopped playing, what made you want to enter the tech space, or like the startup space, essentially?
Well, I guess I'll kind of start a little further even back. Before I ever, went into college, tech wasn't really too heavy on my mind. I mean, there were things that, in regards to tech that interested me, but I wasn't too familiar. I really didn't become familiar with technology as a whole until I started discovering this technology called CRISPR, which is like a gene editing tool. So that's more so on the digital health side of things. That's when I really got into technology, and that was like late late in my, I want to say my junior year of college. So I was just like, okay, really had no interest as far as like pursuing technology until really that year of college for me. Before that, I was really, really on a path of just, I would say, like holistic health. I would just say all things health. I really just wanted to serve people. I had aspirations of actually going to medical school, and obviously end up taking a completely different turn, as I continued throughout my college career. But, growing up, really all I wanted to do was really become a doctor. But obviously, things change as you get older. You go through some different college courses, and they're more aligned with what you're interested in. And I had a passion for psychology, human behavior. So that kind of really got me, really, really interested in like neurobiology, neuroscience, anything that's related to the mind and how we think and, how we respond based off of like our thoughts and everything that progressed after that. But to kind of get back onto tech, really it was just an interest in, financial literacy. So, also in my junior year, I started learning a little bit more about cryptocurrency. I had heard about it in high school, which was years ago, but obviously I had no way to access Bitcoin. So, it was just like, okay, whatever, I don't know what this is, but I ended up kind of getting into forex trading a little bit my junior year of college. And, that didn't go too great for me starting out, but then eventually I kind of started getting the hang of it. But then I kind of fell away from it just due to some other issues that I ended up enduring in college. But, really all in all, it started with cryptocurrency, and I kind of went down that rabbit hole, and really that's where everything else kind of stemmed from.
Oh.
First of all, because I know Brittany about to chime in, I just had to put my 2 cents in because it's very interesting because you and Brittany have a similar story when it comes to like holistic health, and then also, going the route, or was going to go down the route of medical school. So I'll let Brittany tell her story, but I think it's very interesting how a lot of what you said kind of mirrors Brittany's journey as well.
No, that's facts. I knew Shantae was gonna say something. Because as soon as you said I wanted to be a doctor, like my eyebrows went up, and that's something else I was pursuing too while I was in school. I was a bioscience major with a concentration in pre-medical studies. I wanted to be, I believe, specifically a orthopedic surgeon at one point. And like I was all in. like my coach was like, yo, you was gonna be my first doctor and all of this. And then, you know, towards my senior year, I just kind of just the I guess the veil opened up for me. Like I didn't see the mainstream medical route as something that really resonated with me, you know? So I kind of just was like, my heart is not in this anymore. And one thing too that kind of painted the picture for me too, like my junior going into my senior year, I did a short internship at the Children's Robert Wood Johnson Children's Hospital that was not too far from our campus. And you know, they don't tell you the emotional attachment that comes with being a doctor. And like every day I went into that hospital, like I'm seeing these kids, like I would just break down. Like I didn't have the emotional capacity to kind of to navigate in that space. So that kind of, you know, steered me in that direction. But yeah, that's crazy, Apolonia, that the stories kind of overlap like that. Like this is why we kind of do these spaces too, is to, you know, to kind of hear more about your story and hear more about you as a person. And I'm glad that you really shared that with us. Like that's profound to me, especially.
Thank you, and no problem at all. These are things that I probably haven't shared with too many people. A lot of people don't know these things about me, and I'm willing to, you know, share just about whatever you all think would really just help, you know, to bring this story to life, or my story to life, or even, you know, your platform to life.
No, absolutely. So kind of just kind of like rewinding back again, like can you just talk a little bit about your kind of like your sports journey, just your journey as a student athlete into college and then kind of like going on into the professional ranks?
Yeah, of course. So I will say growing up, I always was like I'll say like a backyard athlete, you know, like a schoolyard athlete, but I never played like organized sports.
Right.
I didn't end up playing organized sports really until I want to say my 8th grade year. I played volleyball, and then in high school I ended up playing, you know, softball, volleyball, track, basketball, soccer. You know, like I just started. You know, I really love athletics. You know, so I really dove into athletics once I got into high school. So my freshman year, I ended up playing softball, basketball, and track. Sophomore year, I switched over to volleyball and soccer instead of softball and track. And then junior year, that's kind of what I stuck with, and throughout the rest of my high school career. I will say, like, my junior year, I didn't finish out my basketball season because my mom actually ended up getting surgery. So that kind of like, it threw me off the path of really wanting to be engaged in sports in general. And then actually later in that year too, my grandma actually ended up passing away. So that just kind of like steered me away from like sports for a little while there. And then I actually got back into it my senior year. So I finished out my senior year. Really was just looking to go to school for academics. But I was just like, okay, you know, there were opportunities that were kind of floating my way. Obviously, you know, my mom recovering from surgery and everything, I really wasn't trying to go too far. So I ended up staying, and I went to a junior college in St. Louis, Missouri, where I actually ended up playing soccer. I actually originally went there to play basketball, so I ended up getting I'll just say I was playing basketball there, and they didn't have dormitories, so I actually had to pay for my own housing and everything. So what ended up happening was, me not having a job and everything, I was kind of having to figure things out, you know, financial aid and everything else. But on the other side, like, you know, the soccer team, like, I was doing really great. Like, we ended up going to nationals for soccer and everything. So they actually ended up offering me a scholarship. So they gave me a scholarship, and then I was able to take care of like my housing and everything there. Turned around the second year, came back. I didn't end up playing basketball at all. I played soccer, ended up getting like injured But, we still ended up going to nationals again, but I really played that entire season hurt. So after that season, I actually ended up going back home. I finished out that year just with my academics, just working from home. And then, let me see, after I kind of recovered a little bit, I started going back to the gym. Mind you, I wasn't like playing sports or anything. I started going back to the gym, ran into like an OAAU coach. He was like, hey, are you still playing sports? Are you still like, at like SCLCC, which was St. Louis Community College? Are you still playing basketball? And I was like, no, I haven't played basketball in like almost 2 years. He was like, oh, but he was like, come train with us. So I ended up training with him and another girl I'm actually pretty good friends with. We were training together. Literally that same day, he was like, hey, this weekend we're going to Tennessee State University, where we're actually going to be, taking her so that she can actually try for their team. So I ended up actually going down there with them. And the coach, I wasn't in shape. My feelings were hurt. They really didn't want me, but I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So they just were like, okay, what we'll do is we really do like you. If you can play well at one of the schools that we can connect you with, what we can do is we can possibly look at bringing you back here for your junior and your senior year. So I ended up getting connected with a few different schools that they were connected with, and University of Pikeville was one of those schools. I went to University of Pikeville, didn't have the best career at all. Actually ended up experiencing like I don't know, I just say I didn't have the best career. Ended up getting hit with ineligibility for about 2 to 3 months, so I was out of the rotation by the end of the season. Things just weren't great with me and the coach. That's just that. I don't want to tell too much on that, but if you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But later I actually ended up transferring away from that school, and that's where I went back from basketball back to soccer. So that's where I was only playing soccer in New Mexico. And pretty much that's when I actually ended up losing a sibling. And when I lost that sibling, I stopped playing soccer. After I graduated from there, I came to Texas, was just working, training, playing basketball. And later, things changed. Some people saw me, they were interested in me, so I ended up getting the opportunity to finally go overseas. So that's a little bit about my athletic background, and I'm willing to kind of fill any gaps that I may have left over there.
Right.
I just wanted to say thank you for being transparent and just willing to share everything, right? To share your journey, because it's interesting because I can't, I'm drawing a blank right now, but she was just in the room. But nonetheless, like, we've had conversations with other people where, they've said that it's been very difficult for student athletes to share their journeys, their experiences, because they don't feel comfortable, right? They don't feel like they're in safe spaces to do that. So and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, like, this is what this is even about, right? Because if a student athlete hears what you just shared, they may feel inclined to come and speak to someone if they need help. They may feel inclined to share their story, right? Because this is what it's about, to help other student athletes or people that look like us. So I just wanted to applaud you. That's number one. And then number two, I just wanted to also highlight just the power of relationships, because you mentioned your coach happened to see you. And after that, your journey continued. Even though you didn't get the opportunity to play basketball in 2 years, it's just the power of relationships.
Right.
So I just also wanted to highlight that. Go ahead, Brittany, because I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah, and I think Apolonia, you sharing that just shows how the journey's never linear, right? Like, nothing in life is a linear journey. Like, there's no straight path to anything, and to hear you, like, bouncing around from, schools and, having to deal with adversities with coaches that don't see your way and stuff like that. Like, I think that is the important part of the journey. I was having a conversation with my dad earlier, and he was just saying how, some of, especially coming from like New York, the New York City area, how like kids lack the mental toughness to kind of deal with adversity. But that's why people should share stories, right? Because all of us go through it, like all of us have to navigate that adversity at some point in our lives, even you losing a sibling, that's difficult, right? Like that's that's tough. Losing anybody is tough. So like you being able to navigate all of that adversity is commendable and admirable. So just wanted to make sure I said that. And this kind of segues into like our next question as to is like what is some advice that you'd give to your younger self and student athletes now dealing with things like that?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Advice I would give to my younger self is you have the ability to create your own reality. And I mean, I guess for anyone else here listening, I guess I can kind of just elaborate a little bit more on my story that, some spots that I kind of missed out on. I'll say, I grew up actually with 3 siblings. 2 now I've actually lost. And I'll just say life has never come easy for me. And I don't think life is never really going to come easy for anybody unless you actually go out and create it. I've always had to believe in a possibility that wasn't, that I wasn't yet experiencing. So it's always kind of been within my interest, or I don't want to say like my power, because people kind of start thinking weird when it comes to that. But, I've always had to work with what I got rather than what I hope for. I've always had to think. I've always had to ask questions. I've always had to live beyond myself. So, I will always exhibit courage. So I would just encourage anybody else, if you're going through something, just grow through it, because eventually you're going to get through it. And if you really look back on it, you've gotten through all of your trials that you've gone through. So that's just the advice that I would give.
Lovely. The power to create your own reality. Whoo! Bars.
Like like some music or something after that.
Right. Like I need ding ding, right? Like
like something we need to do that move forward. But that was hello. I was over here saying yes.
That's a powerful statement. Because I don't think a lot of people think that in that mind frame, right? Like being able to design your own life, that is truly something that is possible. And like you said, you have to have the courage to kind of like manifest that for yourself. So I think that's beautiful advice to the student athletes now. So moving forward, obviously we know you're the founder of House of Her.A, and House of Her.A is, a platform that's looking to engage and help, and empower female student athletes to monetize and leverage their NIL. So we wanted your thoughts on NIL and why you think that's so kind of important for the athlete right now.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a firm believer in NIL. If I had NIL when I was, going through my athletic career, I think it would have made a world of difference. I think what it really does is it empowers the athlete to be able to create something for themselves, so to kind of go back to the point that I made initially, you have the ability to create your reality. I think that is like the perfect way of saying, hey, these athletes can now go out and create a future for themselves that they weren't able to create before. There were times in the past where we weren't able to be like, okay, this is my name, this is what is going to be allowed. It's just colleges, universities, whoever, they were able to just use our name, our images, our jersey number, whatever it might be. And nothing was said in regards to it. But now we can actually make a profit from it, and we are now creators rather than just, mules or machines. So
yeah, no, that's a fact. And I love that your platform is catering to specifically female athletes, because I think most of the time we kind of get the shorter end of the stick when it comes to just kind of like educating us and being able to take advantage of opportunities. So I love that. And you being an entrepreneur yourself, and just like with the advancement of the student athlete experience, how important is it to you for student athletes to think beyond the sport? Like, what does that mean to you? Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so I would say it's important to think beyond the sport, because you have fans, you have supporters, you have, just people out there who might believe in you, who could possibly relate to you better when it comes to some of your passions rather than just the sport itself. Because, when we look at our fan base or our followers, all of them aren't people, if I look at for myself, I'll say all of the people who are following me, who believe in me or who support me, they aren't, past basketball players or past athletes or, people who enjoy art. So if I really dive into some of my other passions, there could be things that other people identify with that'll really help them to be able to better relate to me as an individual. So that's why I think it's very important for us to really, do just that.
Right. Shantae, if you had any questions, please feel free to stop me.
I was going to say I really love that. And, growing up, sometimes you get not stuck, but I guess like just knee deep in just the sport, right? Like I know for Brittany and I, when we were younger, it was basketball everything, to be honest. We stayed in a gym every day or every other day. And while we may have liked, different things, we didn't have really the chance, I guess, to really tap into other things because we were just so knee deep in basketball. And while that was beautiful, right, because it afforded us a lot of opportunities and experiences, now kind of to what you just said, like the student athlete, the ecosystem has opened up so much where they are able to be knee deep in basketball but still find the time, right, and to explore other passions of theirs. And
right.
With the power of social media, now they can also monetize and then also market themselves, and all of this information and knowledge is but a click away.
Right.
So yeah, no, I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to say I agree with everything that Apolonia said. And it's just an amazing time to be a student athlete.
Right. No, that's facts. Seeing all these opportunities that they're getting it's quite remarkable, right? And like you just want to see them win, right? Like we're seeing so many of the valuations for for the female student athletes go up. Like I think there's like, not sure if you've been seeing this, Apolonia, but like, you have some kind of college coaches, maybe even broadcasters, on the side of talking about how, especially for the female student athletes, like why would they not take or take their COVID years, like basically they have an opportunity to stay for another year, they're getting NIL deals. A lot of these, Power 5 schools, or these, these really popular schools, are getting chartered flights everywhere. They're having the college experience and they're loving that. So what do you say about that, Apolonia? Do you think it's a good and bad, like good, bad, ugly situation here? Like, how do you feel about female student athletes now, and the leverage that they have essentially before they become professionals?
Hey, personally, I would say there's way more opportunity in college. So I would say stay, get your bag, build your personal brand.
Right.
These leagues, which are very, very, I'll just say they're few in numbers, are always. I'm not even gonna say they're always gonna be there, but they're gonna be there. When it comes to being a college athlete, you have way more opportunities that you can leverage. You could leverage, obviously your name, image, and likeness. If you do want to get a degree, if that's your choice, you can then leverage that for, post collegiate career. There's so much more opportunity just staying in college alone. So I would, if it was from me to athlete, or from me to college athlete now, or a high school athlete, or whoever you might be, I would say take advantage of the opportunities that you have to be, a high school or college athlete. You can build a brand. You can go out and partner with some of these companies that are looking for someone to help them build their brand. Take advantage of that opportunity. We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know if there's going to be some pushback. We don't know what's going to happen. So I would say take advantage now.
Absolutely. Jump on it, y'all. Y'all better jump on it, because Lord knows when if I was in college, woo! Yo, I'm going to get an NIL deal somehow, some way. You feel me?
No, that's a fact. Jesus. I'm looking at the valuations like, Jesus. I don't know what Libby Doom's valuation is right now, but I know she's hanging in there in the top 5 with the men.
Right.
in college. So that says a lot. Like,
right.
These women, these young ladies are getting to the bag, making 6 figures potentially off deals is crazy.
This is the reality we in now. So, I mean, more power to them. So, Apolonia, we definitely seen that you were a participant at ETH Denver this year. Congrats to that. That's kind of fire. Because we had a chance to go to ETH Denver last year. We're not hackers or anything, like I think you were hacking, right? Was that what you were doing at ETH Denver?
Yes, I was hacking a little bit there, but I also ended up just kind of participating in the events afterwards as well.
No, that's fire. See, so like, where are you with or a better question would be, what's the bigger picture for House of Her.A, and the brand that you're trying to build? Like, what's on the roadmap for your company here?
Yeah, so really what I'm wanting to do is kind of what you mentioned earlier, is just provide a platform for female athletes to leverage their name, image, and likeness, meanwhile also gaining ownership of their digital identity. So, some of the things that I'm really looking to offer is going to be, there's going to be a platform, and then there's going to be, like this rookie veteran card, and then there's also going to be digital wearables that I'm looking to implement as well into, the system that we're looking to build. There's going to be some learn to earn. There's going to be some how-tos. There's going to be seminars. There's going to be, like what we had earlier in the year, where we'll have, different speakers come on and these athletes can learn from them. There's going to be a bunch of different things included. But what I'm really looking to do is actually be not necessarily a middleman, but a way in which these athletes can also receive, NIL deals. I am partnering with a bunch of different companies and different small businesses that are looking to leverage their services for these athletes as well. So those are just a few of the things that we're looking to do. But all in all, I'll say the big picture is I really just want to be, the ethos of women's sports. So if women can come and learn about business, finances, file their taxes, learn about NIL, also participate in leagues potentially years down the road. Like, I want it to be all of that for female athletes, because we don't really have too many opportunities out here right now compared to men. So, I just want to be able to create more opportunities for us as a whole.
Fire. Love that. And I think you kind of being at the forefront of this, because not too many platforms are like just catering to females, right? I think that you're what do they call it? What's the word I'm looking for? It's like, you being first to market, essentially. I think that you have the foresight to kind of see a void that's needed for the female student athlete experience, especially. So just always over here just saying keep going. we understand that Web3 is, whew, Jesus, it's, the space is something, right? Like stuff happening every day. You know, it just runs day by day. So thank you. We've been in here for about 40 minutes, y'all. If anybody in the audience has, we usually like to give the floor, you know, an open floor for anybody that has any questions for Apolonia or for, you know, either me or Shantae. So if that's you, please, you know, just hit the request button and then we'll have you come on stage. Shantae, I don't think I have any more questions for Apolonia. Is there anything you want to kind of touch on?
No, other than we just are grateful and thankful to have had the opportunity to meet you. We're just waiting for the opportunity to meet you in person.
Right.
But that day will come, but we are super honored and grateful and thankful for the connection because there's so many different things that we align on and essentially mirror. And you're just good people, and you have integrity, and you exhibit that, and we love that. And so, yeah, no, we're just thankful and grateful to know you, for you to come in here so we can give you your flowers and to hear about your journey. I see someone wants to speak, so I'm gonna be quiet now.
Yeah. Welcome to the stage, Alexandra. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic.
Okay. I hopped on a little bit late today, but this is a question for everybody. What's the most unique or exciting NIL deal that you've seen for any female athlete this year?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
Exciting?
The one that I really liked was the one that we covered, Shantae, the Haley, the hair.
I was gonna say that, the hair dye.
Yeah, because they had so many different student athletes so many female student athletes participate in that kind of like one deal. So basically, it's a hair company. They kind of do like hair highlights. I believe it was the Baylor.
It was.
Baylor right. The Baylor University team that got the initial deal, but over hundreds of female student athletes got a chance to kind of like partner with this company to, you know, secure an NIL deal. And I thought that was very, very interesting.
I would say for myself, there's a PR expert that I am familiar with. She also does PR for a young lady by the name of Bailey Moody. I'm very, very, like, I don't know, this moved me just because, you know, she's a Paralympian. She plays wheelchair basketball. So that's one that I would say that I'm very, very interested in. It's through great public relations and Amy Chastain. I had her actually on a Her Voice, you know, talk earlier this year as well. So, and that would be one that I would say that I'm actually very, very pleased with. How about yourself?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, did you have any one female NIL deal that you thought was interesting in particular? That was a great question, by the way, too.
Yeah, it was. I'm over here thinking because there's so many. One other one I would bring up, I can't remember her name right now, but she does, I believe, wrestle, or does she do it was so, I can't remember her name right now, but
UFC one?
Yes, I thought that was amazing because UFC is, first of all, I don't know, as of late I've been into UFC. Don't ask me why. It's just a very interesting sport, to be honest. And for them to highlight her and choose her to represent the UFC, even as a college athlete, was super amazing. I can't remember her name right now, but I thought that was a really big deal.
Yeah, I love that. Super. That was definitely great too, because that was their first NIL deal too, like Shantae said. So.
Right. So it was amazing for them to choose her.
Yeah. But thank you for that question, Alexandra. That was a great question. If anybody else has any questions and would like to come to the stage, please again just request. But I have no more questions, Apolonia. I'm just like Shantae said, we're grateful that you kind of agreed to come on and be vulnerable with us and share your story. I'm sure there's 1,000 gems in here that we can clip up and kind of like circulate so that these student athletes can hear your story, because I think that helps the journey, like when we get to talking and sharing our experiences and be like, oh well, she dealt with some adversity. Well, I think that makes me more suitable to be able to get through what I'm getting through right now. So again, thank you for your time, thank you for your energy, and we hope to continue to cultivate this relationship with you. And we're looking forward to seeing House of Her.A grow and expand and do its thing. So thank you.
No problem. And again, I just wanted to thank you both for inviting me on today. It was a pleasure sharing, a little bit of my story with the two of you. And, I'm really looking forward to being on this journey with you as well.
Absolutely. And if anybody doesn't have any more questions, that'll wrap up.
I was going to tell Apolonia to tell them where to follow you at.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm across, my personal is across all platforms, Artificial Apple. As far as House of Her.A, on Twitter, you can actually find the link in my bio, but it will be House of Her_A. And then on Instagram, it will be House of Her.athletics. So, you can find me on, those two platforms, also on LinkedIn. It'll just be House of Her Athletics. So, feel free to, give us a follow or, a shout out, whatever, just feel free to, and I'm willing to answer any questions that anyone might have in regards to the platform as well.
And that's that. Make sure y'all follow Apolonia on all the platforms, as she said. Please give this space a retweet so that more eyes can see it once we're done. And follow us on all platforms. Next week, we actually have 2 interviews that we'll be doing. So one on Thursday and then one on Friday. The one on Thursday will be with Angelica McDonald. She's one of the co-founders of Rise HBCU, one of the few Web3 collectives that's repping for HBCUs in this space. So please tune in, turn on the notifications, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you, Apolonia. Yo, Queen Latifah was going on that joint. But again, follow us on 21 Titles. Again, that was Apolonia Thomas, founder of House of Her.A, a platform that's looking to empower and provide opportunities for female student athletes. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week. We got 2 shows for y'all. First show with Angelica McDonald, co-founder of Rise HBCU. And then next show with Michelle Pacheco, head coach at Martin Luther King High School. Also former athlete, former superstar from Manhattan basketball, Manhattan University. So keep it real. We'll see y'all next week.